All right, so Jasmine, you're single,
Yes.
but you shoot with a guy, correct? Because you make content.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. But you're
True.
not in a
I
thing
guess
with him.
since you said friends with benefits, I guess it would be a friends with benefits situation.
Okay.
Depending on how you're going to define that.
And so, just going back to your career, so you are a licensed attorney. However,
Yes.
you don't practice because you do OnlyFans.
Yeah, so I quit my job at my firm last April, I want to say, so I could focus on my OnlyFans career. And I'm very happy with that decision.
What's the kind of money, comparatively speaking, that you're making compared to being an attorney?
So attorneys like 6 figures a year, OnlyFans is 6 figures a month, so quite a difference.
You make 6 figures a month?
Yes.
Mid 6 figures, low 6?
Like most low, usually.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now, why? Because, I mean, being an attorney, I think it's a fairly well-esteemed career. Why did you're self-described 304 lawyer,
304.
and you also said I was just too sexy to be a lawyer
True.
in
I
your
mean, I
bio.
have huge natural G cups. So what am I supposed to do? Much more profitable. I'm jealous.
Okay. So you were recently on Fresh and Fit,
I was.
and you got into quite a back and forth with Myron.
I did.
What was the big argument that you guys got into about?
I think we argued about everything. Like, I was talking the whole time. That was one of the issues other people had. So we got into quite a bit. His views are a lot more radical than yours. So I kind of disagree with him on pretty much everything. So
Well, yeah, I think you guys touched on body count quite
we
a bit.
did.
And then also just you felt that
I
your
shouted you guys out. I said you guys are more professional. Did you catch that?
I don't like to talk poorly, but I guess thank you for the shout out.
Yeah.
Although you were kind of throwing them under the bus in so doing.
But they deserve it.
Oh God. Okay, don't get me into trouble here. All right. So the big thing though that I saw that you got into an argument about was, there's a debate between you two that because of that you do OnlyFans, that's going to have a negative impact on your future relationship prospects.
Yes. So I don't think it will.
Disagree, agree,
I
partially?
don't think I don't think it'll impact my future dating prospects. That may not be the case for everybody. The kind of guys I like to date, whether now or before I started an OnlyFans, wouldn't be the kind of guys who have an issue with it. The one area that may be impacted is I want to keep doing BG content. So the kind of guy wouldn't have an issue with me doing OnlyFans, but it is fair maybe if he doesn't want to be on my OnlyFans. So that's something I might have to navigate, but the OnlyFans on its own won't be.
Well, what's the type of guy that you want to date?
Somebody who shares my values and doesn't value things like sexual purity or correlate modesty, whether it's digital or in person, with morality. Somebody who, liberal, shares my values. And that's pretty common, especially in academia. I mean, academia leans left. You don't find people, even conservatives, they may have personal moral qualms with it, but they're not at least in lawyer world, they're not 304. They're
Sure.
not, they don't engage like your audience does.
So you want to date a more liberal guy?
Yeah, always.
And do you consider yourself to be liberal?
Yeah, libertarian left, probably center left, depends on the issue.
Okay. Well, let's actually go around the table, because I think politics is very intimately tied to some degree to dating.
Exactly.
Because obviously you want to be with someone who shares your values. What's everyone's political leanings, whether you're left, right, moderate, apolitical?
I think I'm apolitical. So is that where you're just not political?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
apolitical.
Fairly progressive left, yeah.
Fairly progressive, okay.
Well, I introduced myself as, working with TPUSA and Blaze TV, which if you're familiar with them, I don't think it'd surprise anyone to know that I am right wing.
Okay.
I would say I'm pretty moderate, a little more right-leaning,
Okay.
just because I grew up with my family just naturally being pretty traditional.
Sure.
So, ties.
Okay. So we can definitely dive into some of the more politics-related issues later on in the show. But so I think one of the things that you were talking about is you won't have an issue getting a guy who's a lawyer. Is that your type, a lawyer?
Not really. I dated a guy in law school, but besides that, they're not. They can be. I like guys that are smart. I like guys that I feel like are on the same level as me intellectually, mentally, and those things. But like, for instance, before I even started doing this, so before like 2 years ago, I didn't have an Instagram or anything. Like, I had no digital footprint. And there was one guy that I like went on one date with, and he made a comment like, oh, it's really nice you don't have an Instagram because girls that look like you are usually showing off their bodies on Instagram. I ghosted him after that. Like, I'm just not into that kind of thinking at all. So
what
when
did he say?
He said, oh, it's nice you don't have an Instagram because usually girls are showing off their bodies on Instagram. So I didn't have an Instagram, and a lot of guys thought that was cool, but I care why you thought that was cool. Do you think it's cool because I'm just more present, that I want to live life, that I don't really spend my time on social media? That's cool. But if you like that I don't have an Instagram because I'm not showing my body off, even when I wasn't, I had no interest in men like that, then or now.
So a guy wanting a girl who has limited or no social media presence or isn't posting revealing photos, that to you is a
Deal breaker.
a deal breaker.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that was then and now.
So why do you think men might care about that sort of thing?
There's a multitude of reasons, all of which are deal breakers. So he could just have more religious or conservative social values, which I don't, and that's never going to work. He could be insecure. He could be territorial. So there's not a single reason I could think of that I would not consider it to be a deal breaker.
Okay.
So that's just for me. Now, maybe different for other people.
So you're a perfect guy, right?
My
But
perfect guy.
on this one thing he doesn't want.
He wouldn't be my perfect guy. Like, that's literally
Sure.
the foundation of what you're looking for first, is people who share your values. So he couldn't even begin to be my perfect guy if...
Sure. Well, let's go around the table on that. So would you have an issue dating a guy? Would it be a deal breaker, as it is for her, for a guy to not want you to be posting revealing photos on social media?
I mean, it's kind of tricky for me now. I've recently gotten into modeling again, and I usually do swimwear, and so my body is posted a lot. So if he has a problem, I don't think it would be as strong of a deal breaker, but it would probably be a topic of conversation quite frequently between us, because
Sure.
that's part of it.
Okay.
That's not something I typically post. That's just not what my Instagram looks like, so it's never something that's been an issue.
And your Instagram is... Oh, hold on.
Bender the Offender donated $99.
Hey, thank you, Bender.
One of the topics that she debated Myron on is the corn industry is ethical.
I can do that again.
Maybe we'll touch on it later, but hey, Bender, good to see you in the chat, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Your Instagram's private, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
It's not that exciting. I used to race mountain bikes, so it's mostly pictures of that.
Aviation photos?
Yeah, lots of airplanes too.
Okay. Lauren, your thoughts?
It wouldn't be a deal breaker if my husband said, don't post provocative photos of yourself. I don't do that. And I think that's, tacitly our understanding that I wouldn't do that. My husband is, I would say, even more socially conservative than I am. And I think it's true what you said about values. So for he and I, that's something we share, so it's not an issue.
I don't really think it's a deal breaker either. I mean, you model, so I guess for every other model, that's like a whole different story. But I think it's perfectly reasonable for someone to want that.
So what you're saying is neither of you two could date Jonah Hill.
No.
I don't think Jonah Hill would want to date me.
I don't think I'm his type, and the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, no.
I believe our remaining guest has arrived. Nick, if you want to go ahead and grab him. We have one last person joining us. If you're just tuning in, hurricane, so it's...
And earthquake. Did
yeah,
you
there's
guys
also an
feel-
earthquake,
yeah.
guys. Oh, that's right. We should have pulled it up. Here. Oh, shoot. That's what I forgot to do. Well, when Nick is back, we can pull up. But basically, the path of the hurricane just barely missed Santa Barbara. So we're so far doing okay, but... okay. Major deal breaker.
Yes.
But you used to not post revealing photos, and the guy liked that.
Yeah, that was a deal breaker.
So he liked what you were doing.
He liked, so yeah, a few years ago, I was just a lawyer.
Oh, hold on just a sec.
Mizzou donated $99. Men don't want women who show themselves off online. It shows you have no self-respect or that you feel like you have no other value than your body.
No, it shows that you don't have respect for me or that you think I don't have any other value than my body. That's not how I feel.
We don't want women who show, it shows you have no self-respect or that feel like you have no other value than your body.
I have tons of value. To myself. He may not think so, but who cares what he thinks?